Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. As I put up more and more of these videos, I just wanted to tell you that it has been a total unexpected joy putting these videos up. And I say this to say I was not going into this year thinking that I was going to do this kind of thing. In fact, my 3 or 4 or whatever New Year's resolutions that I had intended on doing this year, and I haven't done one of them. Like I told you a couple of videos ago, I'm pretty lazy sometimes. And like I said, I wasn't expecting to do this. It just kind of came across my mind one day. I kind of put it together just to see what would happen. And it's been an absolute joy doing this. And I really appreciate all the comments that I've gotten. I haven't gotten a lot, but I've gotten some. Most of them have been about the Antichrist, and I even appreciate them, even though I don't agree with or believe with what they're believing. I appreciate those comments too. And I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they said it. I understand their reaction to it and so forth. And because I didn't think he was the Antichrist when I first read it, but when I first read Benjamin Creme's books, I did not like it. I was totally turned off. And now I'm not the kind of person that would have made great strides to try to, fight him on it. I just didn't like it. I was just, I hardly ever, like for instance, I hardly ever complain at a restaurant if something's wrong. I just never go back, right? That's just kind of me. I'm going to speak to the manager. I'm not that kind of person. That's not my gig, my style. But so I was going to return the book and be done with my life, kind of dust my hand off of the book, right? And then I like I said, there was probably something, I don't know if there was nothing on TV that night or whatever. I just decided to pick it up again and read a little bit more and read a little bit more and read a little bit more, and it kind of took root. And next thing you know, I'm going yada yada yada. I'm starting to do transmission meditation, and then I'm starting to talk more about this stuff, and it's really over the last 20 some odd years has been a big part of my life. And it started off with something that I hated, so you never know where this will lead you, right? And now, so that being said, wherever you find yourself when you hear these videos that I'm putting up, Benjamin Creme always said at the end of his videos, or his lectures, excuse me, and even at the end of his videos, that he doesn't really need you to believe this. If you are left and you leave and go home with a renewed sense of hope for you, your kids, your children, your children's children, then he would be totally satisfied. I think that's kind of the way that he put it, kind of paraphrasing it. And I can agree with that, because I would be the same way. If you hear these videos and you don't believe it, one thing, but you're kind of left with, things aren't so bad, I'd be fine with that. Or, like I said, you will see Maitreya on TV one day. We're all going to see him on TV. If you haven't already seen him, you might not have recognized him, but let's say you recognize him, right? And you're like, that guy looks familiar. And it's because the photos that I put up of Maitreya in these videos, and you're like, that guy, it doesn't look like him, but there's something about him that's kind of similar. Or if you hear this guy talking that's not claiming to be Maitreya or the Christ, and it starts to resonate with your heart, and you're like, where have I heard that before? And you turn up the television a little bit and hear him a little closer, right? Well, I would just be giddy with joy over somebody's reaction to that. Because I'm not looking for this channel to get huge. I'm just looking to do, to share my part of this story. Because it's, like I said, it's really a big part of my life. And I've been lucky enough to remember my Maitreya experiences that I've had, the majority of them, I guess. Maybe I've had some that I don't remember. I don't know. But, I can remember it. And so when I'm in kind of in tandem or hand to hand with reading this information and meeting Benjamin Creme and having his ear and talking to him and so forth, and listening to him talk on videos and stuff, and seeing these miracle signs, it kind of is all kind of clicking. It makes sense for me. Now, I get it that other people are viewing this through their own personal beliefs, which is just belief. I have no quarrel with somebody's belief. It is what it is. So I'm not trying to knock you over the head and change your beliefs. I'm not that stupid. But just understand that, belief is just belief. It's not 100% correct. It never is. And I'll give you an example of myself, because my beliefs aren't 100% correct. If you were to go back 20 something years ago and talked to 25 or 24-year-old Gary, who had just kind of gotten this information and started reading this information, and you had asked him, what's going to happen once Maitreya comes out on TV? I would have said, well, he would have come out on TV and there'd be certain people that will react negatively, thinking he's the Antichrist and be against it, and other people would be for it, but everyone's going to know who he is in just a few months. Well, that's clearly not happened. He's been on TV for over 9 years and most people are unaware of it. I only know of one person. I don't even know the person, but I know of one person that claims to have recognized him on TV. And so after 9 years, that's a lot lower than everybody in the world knowing who he is, right? So that hasn't happened. Now, but at the same time, with my experience, I know those experiences that I've had have happened. I didn't imagine them. They really did happen. The payphone message that I have a video up of a payphone, graffiti written on a payphone that was similar to the way I signed my name on the other side of the planet in Japan when I was touring with this band. That happened. The time that Maitreya sat down and talked to me at this hotel for nearly an hour, saying things to me that I was about to say to him. That happened, And then meeting Benjamin Creme and getting to know him and knowing that he's sincere, but also the information that he had, that he shared with people was just astounding. I mean, it was stuff that just blew me away, and like, for instance, Benjamin Creme was a painter, sold his paintings. He was a very famous artist at the time and gave up a lot of his success to tell this story. But when Benjamin Creme talked about the painters of the past, the Renaissance, not necessarily himself, but because he hardly ever talked about himself, personally, but when he talked about Rembrandt or Leonardo da Vinci or Titian or Veronese, and he talked about their wonderful color and he described the way that they painted and the process that they painted, but also the spiritual message behind the painting. Dude, I just said to myself, I want to be a painter like them. I mean, it really inspired me to paint. And so I didn't do it to copy Ben. I did it because I didn't even realize that paint and art could be spiritual the way that it was. And so he had a perspective. Benjamin Creme had a perspective on life and living that was just it was just an extraordinary view. I wish you could have met him, because when you hear these videos of people talking about him, I'd be willing to bet you that most of them haven't even really heard him. They haven't done any real research on it. And if they have, they're just totally blind to the fact of what he's saying. They're not even hearing him, They already made up their mind from the get-go that he was somebody that was there to deceive them and that Maitreya was the Antichrist, right? And that was just Ben. And Ben's not even a master. So I can't imagine what life's going to be like when people, our leaders are talking to these masters. Like, what do I do? How do I solve this problem with my country? And they give them straight, direct, very simple, views on these things and teachings on these things. Or they ask Maitreya, how do we create peace in the world? I mean, how is that not going to, when people really start to resonate with this and trust Maitreya, I mean, I just can't imagine what the world's going to look like. And like I said, it's the total transformation of the hearts and minds of everyone on this planet. I mean, that's where we're headed. Get on board or not. I don't know. Whatever. If you don't believe it, don't believe it. I don't care. But that's where we're headed. And the power behind these messages. There's somebody left a comment one time that said something, and I respected his comment, and I really appreciated him commenting on this video. But he said something to the effect of, Maitreya's magic and his power will be his power or something like that. And it's not. It's his love and the truth behind his words are the power. That's who Maitreya really is. And even if you never view him as the Christ, I'd be willing to bet you'd be kind of blown away by the simplicity of his message and how to the heart of the matter he will be, And you'll see that only somebody at the stature of the Christ, I think, can solve the problems, even just in the Middle East, for instance, to bring the Palestinians and the Jews together, or the Muslims and the Christians together. I mean, how is that going to happen? Without somebody like that. Our world leaders have not been able to do it. And then when humanity won't have to look to these greedy, corrupt politicians anymore and listen to them and just take it on face value that they have their best interests at heart, but can actually ask somebody like who's a master, hey, how do we do this? They're saying, just to follow the corporate line, and just follow the corporations and stuff. And these masters aren't corporate at all, and listen to the truth of their words, but yet the warnings of some of these masters about the environment or whatever like that. But there, when you see these masters, you'll see people who are deeply, deeply concerned with humanity, who know and have the information at their fingertips, the wisdom of the ages at their fingertips, willing to give it to you free of cost. It's only the measure of your reception of it is the measure of how much they will give you. And yet how concerned and willing they are to help the world, you'll also see such joy in these masters and the humor that they have, and how their joy is very infectious, and the heart-to-heart talks that they have without any real agenda, whether you see him just on TV or you meet him in person. And so that's where we're headed, and the time has come to really stand out and kind of talk about it. And so I started this message trying to figure out how I was going to, talk about some of this stuff, and I'm going to end it like this. If you hear this message, or you hear this video and you're totally turned off by it, well, then just turn it off, right? If you turn it, listen to it, and like I said, you see Maitreya on TV and you turn up the volume a little higher so you can hear him a little bit better, then I'd be happy to, right? But if you're somebody like me who, after hearing this, whether you were turned off in the beginning or totally excited about it, that's your reaction to it, right? But you want to know more about it, go to share-international.org. I'll put the information in the link, in the description, so you can click on their link and go to their website. They have free information available for you to read as much as you want. When you're back on YouTube again or whatever, just search for Benjamin Creme and listen to some of his lectures and stuff and see what you think. Do your own research. I've listened to enough financial advisors. They always, on YouTube, they always say, I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research. Well, I'm not a spiritual advisor, just do your own research. I'll say it like that, right? And as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.